Salzburg, a town known for and proud to be the birthplace of Mozart. But once a year at the beginning of December, they are known for something much different. And that's exactly why I came here. The story varies a bit depending on your source, but the gist is each year on December 5th is Krampusnacht or Krampus Night. Alongside St. Nick, Krampus punishes naughty children with birch rods and brooms and sometimes drags them off using chains or a sack.
So, obviously, I wanted to see what this was all about.
I hadn't been able to get a lot of detail around where exactly the Krampus would appear from the internet, so I stopped into an information office near, of course, Mozart Square, and was told that while Krampus would be arriving at the Christmas market nearby, it was going to be more of a mingle, and that the run would be earlier, involving the streets that I've inserted in this picture. This map ended up being incredibly useful later on, though the timing did seem to get pushed on some of the later events, such as the Krampus Mingle.
Well, the reason I'd come to Salzburg was the Krampus run. I had 2 whole days to explore, and I found there's a lot more to see than Mozart and Krampus. The town, for one, goes very hard on Christmas. In addition, there's these lovely cobblestone streets that you can walk for hours. I didn't want to get too far from where the Krampus events would be held, so I started by exploring the market they would be later mingling in. This massive market had a multitude of vendor offerings, including jams, condiments, ornaments, many gifts for pets, and schnapps.
It's a meringue pretzel. A meringue pretzel. That's crazy. Everything here is a pretzel.
This is also where I found my first glue wine of the season.
Cute mug. Oh, yeah. Absolutely genius.
I personally struggled to find snacks at this market, but I'm a plant-based eater and I'm not sure other people would have the same issues. I did have my first raclette, which was not the best example.
It's okay. Came out pretty fast, so. I don't know how much scraping off the cheese they did. It might have been already ready. The cheese is kind of falling off like that. That's the situation.
Later raclettes on this trip more than redeemed this cheese category, but this one was not it. I did regret not trying more food items earlier in the day, as the market became overwhelmingly full when it was time for the Krampus. I also found lines to be pretty subjective in Europe and didn't have much fight left in me at that point. The area around the market included a cemetery with catacombs built into a cliff. For a few euros, you can wander inside and climb to the top if you're willing to take the very old stairs.
Alright, the restaurant right outside the catacombs, super cute. It's mostly duck.
I stopped for a quick coffee refuel, where the barista told me childhood trauma would be keeping them away from the Krampus run that evening. I set out early for a good spot, and I was glad I did. I ended up finding the Krampus run staging area, full of Krampus getting ready for the evening. Some folks were ready to go and wasted no time chasing onlookers.
It's also super freaking cute watching the wives get their husband Krampuses ready to go.
Something to know, especially as an American who is used to no-contact haunted houses, is that's not a thing at the Krampus run. Contact will be made, and it will sting because it's pretty cold out. If you're planning on getting in on the action, which I would recommend for the full experience, wear thick pants like denim. I did not do that, and I was stinging for a while and had some bruising the next day. I found that positioning myself next to a child did help overall, as they went easier on the kids, but
If you're a dude, you may be out of luck because they seem to go hardest on men. The run and the market mingle were two very different experiences. This event has gotten pretty big, and because the run, which was more of an interactive parade, was spread out over several blocks, I felt like I got to have a lot of Krampus time with a lot of different Krampuses. Krampuses? Krampi? I don't know. There was a lot of Krampus.
If I can ever make a suggestion, it would be to wear thick pants because they do make contact and it hurts.
That said, at the mingle, even though I didn't get to see as many Krampus, they did interact with you a lot more. Like, one of them stole my hat, which was fun. There was a decent gap of time scheduled, which in practicality turned into a pretty long gap of time between the run and the market. So I treated myself to a beer brulee, which I had seen earlier. This I actually really enjoyed. They took a really hot stick of this is something I actually kind of enjoyed. They took a hot rod and they dipped it into a beer, which caused it to foam. And they said that it caramelizes the sugars in the beer to make it sweet at the top. I didn't necessarily think it was that sweet, but it was an interesting experience having it be warm on the top, but still cold on the bottom.
Okay. It's like hot and cold. Like the foam is hot. You're good. Go ahead. The foam is hot, but like the beer is cold. Yeah. Good.
The market mingle included a presentation, but that was not in English, and when I pulled Google Translate up to see if I could catch a bit of the story, it really came across as nonsense. The crowd near the stage was packed, and when it got close to time for the Krampus to descend, it was nearly impossible to get through the arched paths connecting the two different market squares. I actually almost left them because I felt like I had gotten a pretty good taste of the experience during the run, but I am glad I held out. The Krampus at the mingle have a little bit more interaction with you. They take a little bit more time as they go by, so even though you don't see as many different Krampus, you get a little bit more interaction with each one.
Stop paying off that one, my hat back. They do seem to not hit so hard at the market, I'm finding. Maybe that's just the Krampuses I run into. They're pretty gentle here. And also a little bit more fun. Right, coming back from the Krampus run. In the Krampus market. It was a good time. I will say some of the Krampus do hit pretty hard. Not all of them. Some of them are gentle. But some of them do hit pretty hard, so be aware. I ended up moving to next to a child, which did help. It helped a lot. They don't really hit the kids. Aside from that, it was a really good time. I would say go to the run if you can, which is at 5:30, and it's by the university. They leave from there, set up. If you want, like, this hill is no joke. If you want to have like more interactions with the Krampuses, I would say go to that instead of the market. The market was really crowded, and it was hard to get anywhere. There were just like a bunch of times, and I just like stood there because I couldn't move, and everybody around me was trying to move, and I was trying to move. Nobody's moving, so market was super busy. I would say go to the market in the morning. That's less crowded if you actually want to spend time there. Otherwise, yeah, had a really good time. I got to meet this lovely couple, Sonia and Shad, who were telling me about the Krampus run, and apparently it's only been like the last year or two that they've allowed women to be Krampus, and I think that's really cool. She also told me they used to wear baskets and toss like women and children in there, and they don't do that anymore, thank goodness. But yeah, it was lovely meeting those folks. Sonia, Stad, great chat. Thanks for letting me crash your table there. Now it's time for bed, I think.
Day 2 started with the Stiegl Brewery and also a misunderstanding. I had tried to purchase tickets online but ran into issues with my American card processing. I had been watching what looked like an online ticket availability counter, and it had gone down a little bit, but still said many tickets were available. So I figured if I got there super early, I could purchase a ticket and still get on the tour, but I was definitely mistaken. It was sold out. I really don't have any advice for how to get the tickets. They told me that I couldn't buy a ticket because it was sold out, but it also looked like tickets were still being sold, so I really don't know. Either way, I got a self-guided tour ticket, which ended up being fine. I really did enjoy walking through the exhibits. It comes with 2 free pours of beer. I liked both of my beer pours. The first one you pour yourself. The second one comes at the end of the tour, and they pour it for you. And they were both really good. I really enjoyed them. I don't know that I necessarily would have made an entire trip just for the self-guided tour, but I did enjoy the beers that I drank, and it was nice to see a different part of Salzburg. You do also get a coupon for merchandise, and I did pick something up on my way out.
Good to see that Siemens is still around.
I had come across the funicular to the fortress my first day in Salzburg, but not wanting to risk cutting it close with the Krampus run, I'd saved it for my second day, and it was the right call. There was an entirely different market at the top, along with incredible views. I spent a lot of time up here and really enjoyed it. I also felt like the funicular was definitely worth it. There is a footpath to get up to the top, but yeah, the funicular was pretty cool. I had arrived close to dusk, which did feel like the move. I got to enjoy the spectacular city views throughout the evening as it grew dark, and the market had an abundance of mood lighting. This was something I had seen throughout the day in Salzburg, and it looked even crazier up close when I got to the top of the fortress. But it is something you can do if that's something you want to do.
Yeah, that's a no for me. Definitely a no.
After I snagged my second glue wine mug, I spent my time checking out the market and enjoying the live music. Before heading back down, I do recommend visiting the Marionette Museum inside the fortress. It's free, which I love, but anytime you find a super niche museum like this, it's a treat. The walk up food window at the corner of the fortress had been popular most of the evening, but later in the night, I was able to grab a giant pretzel before heading back down the funicular. This ended up saving me the next day. And before I knew it, my time in Salzburg was over. But the trip was far from it. I was spending the first 23 days of December in Europe and would be visiting 5 new countries and as many Christmas markets as I could handle. Join me as I continue my solo trek across Europe.